Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday. It is CLX Foundry Live, and we are going to do another amazing PC build today just for you. Well, not for you. It's going to be also for Brianna in Vermont. But right now, I'm your host, DJ Blue PDX, joining me live from our studios in Wichita, Kansas. The people who actually know how to plug things into other things. It is our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and our master builder, Zach Killingsworth. Gentlemen, hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
We have so much to cover today and some different things to talk about. First of all, I want to say hello to everybody on all the socials, from TikTok to Twitch to Kick to YouTube to Facebook. I see you. I hear you. I love you. But you know what I love more? What we're going to be shoving inside of this case, which is our Sakura edition. Yeah, see, figure it out.
You're right. All right, going inside of this build. Starting out.
What's up, Colby Nash?
Starting out with our processor, we've got the AMD Ryzen 9 7950X. To cool that, we've got the Corsair H150i Elite LCD XT. This is a 360 AIO in black. For our motherboard, we've got the Asus Strix B650E-F gaming Wi-Fi. For our memory, we've got 2 sticks of G.Skill, 16 gigabyte DDR5, 6000 speed Trident Z5 and RGB, yes. So a total of 32 gigs of memory. For our storage drives, we've got a couple of them on this build. Our main drive is going to be a 2 terabyte ADATA 800 Gold NVMe M.2 drive, and then as a secondary drive, we have a 4 terabyte Seagate Barracuda hard disk drive. For our video card, we've got an RTX 4060 Ti from PNY. And for our case fans, we've got 8 of the Corsair 120mm QX series RGB in white. This might be a first, maybe second time on the show. We don't use these fans very often.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think this might be the first time.
It'd be good to get these going. They're pretty unique fans. And for
they're cool.
And for our power supply, we've got the Game DS 1000 watt 80 plus gold P2.
Nice. And as you can see, as Zach was holding up there, the detail on this system is absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
just
this one looks
spectacular.
Great.
There we go. All right, we're going to get this off. This obviously in our NV5 case. This case is awesome because it's a mid-sized case, but it comes with some really unique and fun features. Paul, what are some of those features?
The NV5's got a few. The most notable one is this slant down here at the bottom. This gives us a bigger area for intake in the bottom. And then we've got a nice compartment in the back for some external storage drives and good cable management.
All right, we've already got questions coming in, so let's go ahead and start with that. First of all, is a 4070 with a Ryzen 7700X balanced? Evan asked some TikTok.
Yeah, that's pretty balanced. I don't think you're going to have any bottlenecking issues there.
And then we've got a question over here on the purple side. PC Gamer asks, what's the difference between DDR5 and DDR4?
Ah, good question.
Good question.
So the biggest thing to take away there is DDR5 is the newer generation of memory that's out. It's going to be a lot faster than DDR4. So your RAM speeds are the real big thing to look at there. There's some other smaller details that are that are different, but the biggest thing is going to be speed. So DDR5 is going to be faster than DDR4.
Hello, Michael, over on the purple side. Hello, what's going on? We've got Demonic Killer. Actually, there's not a giveaway live or active right now, but don't worry. It might be coming in the future. Stick around to find out. All right, now let's start with our motherboard because this is actually an incredible motherboard. This is a ROG Strix. Now, you guys know how much I love Asus's ROG Strix series. It is a B650E gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. These things are rock solid. I absolutely love it. Let's take a look real quick at our I/O panel because that is where you're going to get all your connectivity. And as you can see, there's a ton of connectivity on this. Not only do we have our, obviously, the normal, the standards, HDMI and DisplayPort, down below there, we're going to have a total of 4 different USB 3.2 Gen 1s that are Type A's. We've got 3 3.2 Gen 2s that are 2 Type A, 1 Type C. We've got 4 USB 2s. And then, obviously, down below there, we've got our 2.5 gig Ethernet port next to our Wi-Fi antenna. And then we've got our audio jacks and then, of course, our BIOS flashback buttons are there somewhere. Got it. All right. Cool. Well, there we go. Now, to put a brain into our PC for Brianna in Vermont, we're going to need a processor. So Brianna decided to choose an AMD Ryzen 7950X. These are pretty cool. Paul, why are these cool?
So this is one of the top of the line processors from AMD. It's a 16 core, 32 thread processor, has a base speed of 4.5 and it will boost all the way up to 5.7.
Nice. MLP Juan, what's up, Juan? How you doing over there on the TikTok side? Says, what about an i7 1400K with an AMD Radeon 7800 XT? Is that balanced? I'm gonna be honest. That sounds great, but I'm gonna let the experts actually.
The i7 1400. So I think you're missing a digit there. It's probably a 14700K, but yes, that is a good combo. That's high end Intel with a high end Radeon card.
Now, if you noticed what Zach was pointing to, what he was pointing to was the little gold moniker on the corner of the processor. So that always goes to the upper right when you are looking at the motherboard top down. So make sure that it's aligned correctly. Paul, what could happen if you put a processor in backwards?
So you can bend your pins. Now, AMD, the new boards have pins on the motherboard, similar to Intel. So if you put your processor in wrong, you can smash those pins on your motherboard and pretty much destroy the whole thing. So installing your processor, you definitely want to be careful. On previous generations of AMD, the pins were on the processor. So if you've installed one of those correctly, you'd bend the pins on the processor, which can also break it.
Yes. Yes. PC Gamer on the purple side says, as I got a Ryzen 3700X and moving to a Ryzen 7 9700X. Okay, that's a huge jump.
There you go.
Yo, it's Edstech Sean!
Yeah.
Let's go! Welcome, Sean.
What up, Sean?
There we go. I don't know why you needed the echo, but I felt like it was justified.
You got it.
How's it going, dude?
He's excited for you to play Elden Ring later today.
Oh, God. He says, though a pencil eraser has helped me in the past bend them back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've fixed many bent pins on processors and motherboards.
Mm-hmm.
My Athlon XP Pro.
Yeah.
Which was, I think it was, wasn't that just a 2-core way back in the day?
Probably.
I think it was just a 2-core. But I screwed up one of the pins on it, and I literally took a Q-tip because I knew it was soft, and I just carefully put it back in alignment so it fit, and then I just never touched it again. And I hope that that was why it didn't blow up. Crash Burrito, what's going on, Doug? How you doing, bub?
Oh, sorry.
Welcome to the show. All right, now, as we get all this taken care of, what we notice is coming up next is the attachment of our cooling. So processors run really, really hot. So what you need to do is figure out a way to cool them. Now, there's many different ways of cooling, and we've got the one that Brianna chose, but Paul, walk us through the 3 different ways to cool your PC.
So you got air cooling and liquid cooling, and then within liquid cooling, you can use an AIO like what we're using on this build right here, or you can go with an open loop, which we offer. We also offer those as well, and those are a lot more labor intensive. We do the custom bending of the tubes. You're gonna get a whole bunch of cool parts. You can pick all sorts of different colors of fluid for whatever theme you want going on. Those are pretty cool.
No way, that's so cool. Have we ever had somebody from Japan on the stream?
We have had, but welcome in, Crash Burrito. It's 4 a.m. in Japan. I have questions. Why are you up so early?
To catch the show.
Playing video games.
That is
fan.
dedication, my friend. That is dedication, and we appreciate it greatly. My very first intern when I was teaching broadcasting, and he aced my class, he was the only person who ever aced my class. Is in Japan now, and he's now living there with his fiance, and I get updates at the most random hours of the day. But he's doing good. He's killing it. He's loving it. It's fantastic. But he did say he's now addicted to all the food, all the foods. Yeah. As Sean says, is the Ryujin 3 water block part of your open loop part selection? Our first partner water block? I'm going to be honest, Sean, that's a great question. Paul?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'd have to check, but that is definitely something we'd be interested in if we're not.
Nicole?
It's been a while since I've looked at our open loop stuff, so.
We got Rick Herb down on the Facebook side. Hello, my friend. What's going on? Now, we've got this going on. This is obviously, now, as we mentioned, we've got 3 different ways to cool your system. What are they? And how does this work?
Yeah, so you've got air cooling, liquid cooling. For liquid cooling, you can use an AIO or the open loop like we were just talking about. This AIO that we're using, this comes out of the box ready to go. You saw us installing the hardware. Typically, these AIOs will come with 4 to 5 different sets of hardware to match the motherboard socket. So you just make sure you grab the right bag of hardware to pair with your motherboard, and it's pretty straightforward from there.
Okay, that's
Nice. Now, this, of course, as it goes when it comes to AIOs, this is a Corsair H150i Elite LCD. Now, it has an LCD screen on it. What does that do, Paul?
So out of the box, it's going to give us our temperature for our CPU, which is really nice to have just defaulted there, but you can change that and customize it a whole bunch of different ways.
How many ways?
A million.
A bajillion?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I'll tell you what we've also got. We've got a bajillion gigs of RAM. Technically, no, it's actually two 16 gig sticks of G-Skill DDR5 6000. It's Trident Z5 in black. Gonna be plugged in. Now, I have a question about this because I got asked a question about this the other day after we were off stream. Sorry to put on chapstick. It's cold on here. And that is going to be, does it matter? Obviously, we've got our, we plug it into 2 and 4 first. Everybody knows that. If you didn't know that, you're going to plug it into 2 and 4 first. Does it matter if you plug in 2 or 4 first?
No, you can install them and either way you want. Just make
Forwards,
sure
backwards, or otherwise.
Yeah, there is a key on the memory. There's a little slot on it. Now with DDR4 and DDR5, it's close to the center, so it can look like it's right in the middle, but it is offset a little bit, so you do want to make sure you've got them going in the right direction.
Yep. Now, what we're looking at Zach playing with right now is the motherboard's heatsink for the M.2. Now, as the M.2, we've got a 2 terabyte ADATA Gold. It is an NVMe M.2. It's a solid state drive, but it's a different type of solid state drive. Paul?
So this is the M.2 NVMe solid state drive. So M.2 is the form factor there, that small stick that you see in Zach install, and then NVMe is the transfer protocol. So it is a very, very fast drive. Having your operating system on this, your system's going to boot up very fast. And if you've got any games on here, it's going to cut those load screens down significantly.
Can confirm, by the way, because when I moved to this to the new PC, I've got the M.2 for my a 1 terabyte M.2 for my operating system. I've got a 4 terabyte M.2 for my games. I regularly load into every game faster than anybody I'm playing with, and it's wild. But not necessarily as wild as what we're about to take a look at, and these are our fans. Now, we got 8 Corsair 120 millimeter QX series RGB in white. Paul, I don't think we've ever seen these on the show before, and if we have, it's basically only been once. Tell me about these and why they are different, because right now I'm looking at Zach holding a rack of fans. Mm-hmm. How does that work?
Yeah, so these fans plug into each other, which is really nice. Why we like that, it's just easier to install these. You can make one section of 3 like we're going to be doing for AIO, and then coming out of these, it's just going to be one cable, which we should be able to tie into the other fans. So it's going to significantly reduce the amount of cables we have to manage.
That's amazing. See, people, technology sometimes can be important. It's not necessarily going to be, Skynet level important, but right here it is. Now, you have to, because they plug into each other, you still need to put in all the screws, correct?
Correct, yeah. We're still going to do that. Now, you can probably get away with just putting a few in, but we're going to put them all in.
Gotcha. Now, when it comes to fans, obviously, it's important to understand how your fan functions and how it works, which means you have to know which way the fan is blowing. Paul, how can we tell which way the fans are going to blow?
So the easiest way to tell where the air is going to come out of is there's a little grill on the back of fans. You can see it right here. See this fan grill? So this is where the air is going to be coming out of. So if you see this side of the fan, we usually call this the pretty looking side because there's no obstructions. This is where air is going to be coming into. Now there is a little caveat. There are some fans now that are different direction. That way you can have your intake fans showing the pretty side. But 99% of the time, the grill is going to be the exhaust side.
Speaking of exhaust, let me tell you about who definitely exhausted all of their money because they bought a bajillion PCs from us. It is Derek Venable over on the Facebook side. Hello, sir. Says I should have got them fans. I see upgrades in the future.
There you go.
Yes. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you indeed. Don't forget, if you've got questions, people, don't worry. If you're thinking of a question, 99% of the time, 99.6% of the time, somebody else is thinking of it, they're just not brave enough to ask it. So please feel free to ask questions, even if it's about your build or somebody else's build or what's going on with your mom's computer that she bought at Walmart. Now, notice we're putting this straight into the case already. Paul, how does that stay in the case, and what is the things you need to look for when you're installing your motherboard in a case?
So you want to look for the standoffs. Now, typically those are going to be pre-installed in the case, but you still want to make sure that they're all there. That's what this motherboard is sitting on right now, and we'll show you those here in just a minute. And then once you have it sitting on those, then you can put in your motherboard mounting screws. The reason you want it on those standoffs, so you can see these, this is a great shot. You can see them right here, this little silver piece you can see, and then there's, you know, a bunch of those under the motherboard, and we use those because we don't want our motherboard, the back of our motherboard, to be touching the bare chassis of the case. That could cause things to short out. So these standoffs are an important step of the build.
And he's not kidding when he says, yeah, it could be very damaging. Now, when you're obviously, like, the majority of all the holes in the board are going to be solder jointed, I guess is what you would call it.
They have little silver solder lands around them that make it pretty easy to tell where they are.
We had a question over on the purple side. It says, what fans were those by Crush Burrito? And yeah, I put it in there, but I'm going to say it for anybody else who hadn't seen it. It's Corsair 120 millimeter QX series RGB in white. And now, these aren't the only fans that have that new style of clip it together connectivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what are some of the others?
There's a few different brands out there doing this. So the Leon Lee Uni fans are one of them. The Fantex D30s also do it. There might be a couple others out there, but those are the most common ones that we use.
Derek mentions, for all watching, the greatest gift you can get for someone is a CLX PC built live right here. I agree. And the holidays are coming. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, my birthday. It's all happening soon.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. You remember that Virgin
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa? What did you just say?
There's a Virgin Mobile commercial way back in the day. They did Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Yeah. They had a whole song. Happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa to you.
Dear God, that's amazing.
Yeah, they had the I had the old slider phone, you know, back in the day, buying prepaid minutes.
Oh, so I was working for a phone company, and then I ended up getting I was working on the Windows mobile platform for Adobe and getting all the PDF, like security protocols working within the operating system. And I met the guys from HTC, or at least our reps at HTC, and anytime that they had a new phone, they would send it to me to try and to provide feedback. I ended up with 27 different phones. It was a nightmare.
Calm down, Walter White.
AT&T would turn around and be like, well, you have all these phones with service. No. I have one phone with service. I just keep replacing the SIM card. They kept charging me for every phone that I'd ever hooked up to it.
Haha, got it.
That's why your logo looks like the Death Star, AT&T. Have fun. Not a sponsor. I can say that. Sean says, happy birthday day after Christmas, worst day for birthdays ever, but a CLX PC would make up for all those years of doubled up Christmas birthday gifts. Yes. Now mine's on the 9th, which ironically is the 343rd day of the year.
343.
And you know who makes Halo? 343.
But what if
I had to giggle because we were at. We don't count those. That only happens once every 4 years. Those people are forever young. Whoa. Forever young. Well, I want to be forever. What? Now, as you notice that there is some grommets right there, as you can see, along the edge, that are angled. So this means the board doesn't sit directly on the back of the case. So Paul, what kind of a case is this, and why is that helpful and important.
This is probably like a 3/4 case, and what we're talking about that is our motherboard sits 3/4 of the way down into the case, which gives us some room in the back. So there's a door that we've already take off. We take that off when we do the panels, but it sits on these hinges right here.
What do you do, Kevin?
And this is where our hard drive is going to go. So we got room for hard drives. You can fit a few of them on there, and we got a ton of room for cable management as well.
Nice.
I'll go ahead and...
Now, when it comes to cable management, there are several different stages of doing it. One of the things that's great about the NV5 from Fantex is that it comes with Velcro straps built into the case. So that's going to make it easier for Zach to get at least the initial case cables put together. Now, when I say case cables, people might not understand what that means. So, Zach, do you want to describe?
Yes. Our case cables are everything that I am plugging up now, and they consist of, oh, my trash isn't over there, it's down there. Wha-bam! We have a power button, we have a reset button, we have a fan light button, we have a Type-C on this one, and then 2 USBs, those are USB 3s, and then we have our headphone audio jack. It'll kind of be a little bit different per case. You might have a little bit different of USB ports, but for the most part, there's going to be like a power button and then some sort of USBs. So just kind of makes it a lot easier if we go ahead and take care of all this stuff right now before adding any other cables to the mess.
Speaking of adding cables, I really wish I hadn't cracked my rib. So this is the first stage of the cable management. So what would be stage 2?
Stage 2 would, depending on the build with stuff, would be the fan cables, which because how these ones work, these are our fan cables right here. It's just a couple of bigger cables. They don't plug into anything but our nice little hub here. So kind of make it a little bit easier.
Derek Venable mentions blue is either Heisenberg or Saul Goodman. And if you don't know that reference, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, that's a really good documentary. It's a really good documentary. It's about a true story. It's pretty good. If you guys have not seen that yet,
it'd be cool to be able to watch.
The show is called
the first time again.
The show is called Breaking Bad. If you haven't seen it, it won multiple different daytime Emmys. It won Emmys. It won People's Choice Awards. It was an incredible show, and it took me a while to get started into it. Once I finally did, I realized why the show was important and imperative, especially when you're looking at those topics, which we're not going to bring up on stream. That being said, so now we're getting these all put away. So right now you're just tying up things that aren't being used.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Anybody got questions? Because we got answers mostly, or sometimes it's Thursday. It is Thursday, right? Yes, it is.
Thursday.
And I'm not working this weekend.
Why not?
Or next weekend.
What?
So second and third weekends are the other DJ from the Rainbow Room, but then there was a confusion over Thanksgiving, and so she's going to DJ Thanksgiving weekend. I'm doing the weekend after that, and then the first weekend at the Rainbow Room as well. But I've been having a lot of fun with Electro Swing. The vibe fits the space so perfectly. I love it. I absolutely love it. I tried a little drum and bass at one point, but that just that was not the vibe. Nope.
You seem like a snap rock kind of a guy.
I love pop rocks.
No, snap
Wait,
rocks.
What? Is that just people snapping and singing?
Yeah, like Grease
Def
songs.
Leppard? Oh God,
rock.
I've still never seen Grease. Ever. I know. That's tragic and sad.
All right,
Damn it.
DJ, this weekend your challenge is to play Elden Ring or watch Grease.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna make this just easier for you.
I'll do both.
I'll rewatch My Fair Lady and Hello, Dolly. 7 breads for 7 brothers.
And that
Singing in the rain.
2-slot card. Okay, well that's fine. Let's just do that later.
What's the one about the? It was World War II and.
Buckle my shoe.
Dang. Somebody help me with this. Somebody please. For the
Hacksaw
love of
Ridge.
God, there's got to be a.
That's a good
Glorious
Hacksaw Ridge.
bastard.
Jesus,
That's
what is
a
wrong
good
with you?
Hacksaw.
They didn't sing in
Good
that.
movies. You said World War II, so I was just.
Something Pacific. South Pacific. It's called South Pacific. Is another musical.
It's just called The Pacific by Tom Cruise.
Well, it's called South Pacific. There's also Phantom of the Opera, Les Miserables.
Sweet.
You
Pirates
mean
of
less
Penzance.
marbles?
Jesus.
Sorry, that is my French. That is my French. Less marbles. Yes. I thought I was.
Sound of Music.
I thought I was gonna thoroughly enjoy that movie because Russell Crowe.
Oh
You
my
know. Hey,
God.
Dad, let's go see a Russell Crowe movie. What did you bring me to?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Father.
It's not enough combat.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah, Sound of Music was another one.
Sound of
Annie.
Music, jeez.
The original Annie, any Disney film that's a musical, because they're all musicals. But if you're talking about live action, yeah.
We had the Sound of Music
Moulin
like
Rouge?
double VHS box thing as a kid.
Okay,
My
since
sister
we're talking
always made me
about
watch it.
movies, and you just brought up like a collector's box, I want to talk about a collector's box that I want to find this year. It's the 70-year anniversary for the original Godzilla.
Oh.
Oh my God, that's right.
And they are re-releasing it on 4K Blu-ray. But my closest friend had an autographed photo of Godzilla, of the dude in the suit from that original one.
It was
No
just like
kidding,
legs,
that's
right? It was
amazing.
just like waist down legs.
Yeah, it was waist down legs and then upper on top of them.
okay, it did have an upper.
So,
did you say 70
ironically-
year?
Yep.
It's 70 years? Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
70
Didn't even know
years.
there were
So
TVs back
ironically,
Right?
wow. Jesus. So ironically, when the Godzilla movies came out, like in the last 10 years, like the recent ones, and there was the whole thing about Mothra and everything else, Ghidorah, I had no idea what these were because I'd never seen any of the original monster movies. So Kevin and I spent an entire weekend
Did you watch them?
watching all of the movies in order,
That's good.
and they are hilarious,
Yep. So good.
boring, awesome, and
I was gonna watch.
you
I've
just
been
kind
wanting
of
to watch-
rotate between those three emotions
Yeah.
constantly.
I've been wanting to watch.
There's a lot of
them.
monologuing.
Them is a black and white, and they're doing nuclear tests in Nevada, and they radiate ants, and ants like the size of this
Huge.
room like tunnel into town, and like it's so good.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so good.
For those who don't have patience for things, I'll just let it out there. There is a plethora, a massive amount of monster movies that are just terrible.
Oh,
Hilarious.
that's where Mystery Science
But
Theater 3000
terrible.
came from,
Yes.
because they are terrible, but they are perfect in that setting.
Maybe not, dude, where's my car perfect? But yes.
Oh no, there's so
All right, now we're putting these fans obviously in here. You remember what Paul said about how fans work, and so you can see those grates right there, which means the air is going to be coming through those from the back, and it's going to have that because we have a perforated vent hole on the rear case cover, which Paul is going to show you right now.
So right here.
You see where that is? Yep. It may look like it's not enough. It is plenty enough to do all sorts of wild things. Trust me, mine on my Leon Lee, which is a different kind of case, but it's the same perforations in the back. Again, the fans are strong enough that it pulls my green screen up into the fan, so I got to pin my green screen to the back. But we've got these. We've got 4 in coming. We've got the 1 on the bottom, and we've got our 3 on the back. And then we've got 4 coming out. So we've got 1 on the rear and 3 blowing through the radiator. So this is basically a balanced airflow with just a slight positivity. Paul, when I say that, what does that mean for people?
So that means that we have more air coming into the system than we do leaving. That's what a positive pressure system does. Now, like you said, DJ, we have 4 fans coming in and 4 going out. We do have some restrictions due to the radiator, so that's why it will be a slightly positive pressure system, and that is what we're going for. If we had more fans exhausting than intake, we would be in a negative pressure, and that would cause dust, and a whole bunch of stuff gets sucked in through all the little cracks and crevices in the case, and we don't want that.
What? Why would that happen?
Because it creates a vacuum inside of the machine when you're pulling more air out than what's going in.
There we go.
Like space.
And then, I will be.
Yeah.
I never even thought about this as a thing, and I can still say it's true. When did you guys send me this? I've had this for 6-8 months, a year.
Ooh, probably a year.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I feel that's coming up in a year. I have, what is it, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in? I've got 9 in and 4 out. So it's a hugely positive pressure environment. And the thing that was beautiful in that is because of the filtration on the case fans. I still don't need to dust it. It's still clean in there. So when Paul says it makes a difference, it makes a dramatic difference. Do you want to talk about push pulls real quick?
Yeah, sure. So push pulls is referring to the way we mount the fans on the radiator. So how we have them mounted now, we're pushing air through the radiator and out the top of the case. That's typically, if you're going to have fans on one side or the other of the radiator, you want them set up in the push method. It's just going to cool a little bit better than if you had them pulling air through. Which brings us to the push-pull method, which is what we did for DJ's machine, where you put fans on both sides of the radiator. Now, if you're going to do that, you want to make sure the fans are the same brand and everything. That way, one fan isn't blowing faster than the other one on the other side.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. And it does make a difference in how it cools.
It does, yeah. Yep.
The processor. A mic processor stays so cool comparatively to some things I've heard from other people. So it's one of those. I didn't realize how much of an effort it would be, but yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What you doing, buddy?
So I was really wanting to build this today, but these are some of our specialty fans. They kind of require a little bit more work than your other fans. Yes, they kind of have less cables than most of the other fans that we use, but they require, just like our Game DS hubs, they require to be plugged in very specific order so that everything works. And
I hear you on that.
I built one this morning that was like NV5 Corsair radiator and Corsair fans, and learned a lot.
Speaking of people who are learning a lot, I want to jump over to Twitch real quick because Free Mustache Ride 101 says, howdy y'all again. Do you guys think the new 50 cards, since they're projecting 500, 600 watts of power alone for the GPU, will start requiring a 1300 watt minimum PSU? That, my friend, is a great question.
So I don't think they're going to require that high of a wattage power supply. We'll see, when we get them and test them and see, but I would still think you'd be able to pair like an 850 at the minimum with that, and probably 1,000 watt would be the go-to, but we'll see when we get them.
I'm excited.
Speaking of things,
the thing I want to happen is 2 power supplies. You get like 2 650 power supplies, and like one powers your graphics card, one powers the computer. That would be the creme de la creme of PCs.
Good God. That is a nightmare waiting to happen. Speaking of nightmares, Captain Crapout says, Captain says, my current PC has a negative pressure issue, having to clean dust plus my Akita's hair out of monthly or my GPU overheats. First of all, bless your heart, you've got an Akita. They're so fun and so gorgeous. I have Great Danes, and they are not long-haired dogs. They're short hair, and they shed just as much. When I vacuum, I could make a whole Shih Tzu out of all the fur that I catch. It's a brand, not a breed. There we go. Free Mustache mentions, what about those external GPUs they are coming out with as well? I don't even know what those are.
So I haven't seen any of the new ones, but external GPUs have somewhat been a thing recently and a little bit in the past. And typically those have like, it's kind of like their own dock with their own power that they get from the wall on the ones that I've seen. But I'm not sure about the new ones coming out.
So, and Captain agrees with me on that one. So for Paul, what would be a way to alleviate and create a positive pressure environment? Actually, Captain, do you know what kind of case you have, what size it is? Can you give us a little more information on that? Paul might know a way of solving the problem.
Yeah, and so depending on your case, you probably just could flip a couple fans around, make it so you've got more intakes than you do exhaust, and you can easily do that by just flipping them around. But we'll have to see what kind of case you got to decide that.
Now, speaking of cases that we've got a case that actually has an amazing power shroud, and you can see that little elevated platform down there that's just right underneath Zach's hand presently. It has an amazing LED light structure on it, which is fantastic, but it also serves another purpose that is going to come around to the next question, and that is from Dark Paradise. Do those fans use a fan hub too? Paul?
So yes, they do use a hub. You can see it right there. That's what Zach's managing right now. Now with this hub, since we have Corsair fans and a Corsair cooler, we want them to tie in together. That way when we make adjustments to the RGB, it's all synced up. So that's what Zach's got right here. And this is kind of a unique controller. So obviously we've got 8 fans in this build. They're all chained together with one cable running, you know, from the bottom intake all the way up through. And then that cable goes into this box. Now what's unique about this one is it does have a 6-pin power. So that's kind of different. I'm sure there's other brands that do that, but I haven't, none come to mind for me. So you definitely want to make sure you've got an extra 6-pin VGA cable out of your power supply for that.
I want to address the question over on Facebook side from Northern Dustin Stanbridge. Hi, Dustin, how are you? Dustin says, I've been getting an MS gaming overlay on my CLX machine. Any idea on how to eliminate the pop-up message when I'm gaming? I'm going to go ahead and start by apologizing, not on behalf of CLX, but I was for a time part of the Windows game bar. Worst program ever. So you want to deactivate it, deactivate notifications on it. You can do that through settings for game bar, but that's just me. Paul?
Yeah, is that Microsoft overlay, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't had that ever enabled on any of my machines, but I'm sure there's a setting you can turn off.
Yeah, you could uninstall it on Windows 10. You can't uninstall it on Windows 11.
Oh, so okay, I'm still running 10.
So disable notifications, disable all of the interactions, like one of your friends coming online, blah 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 blah. Because I agree, if you hit your Windows button on accident, it pulls up game bar. You're like, what? No, I'm trying to. Oh God, I'm dead. Now, if you've got like a Logitech keyboard like I do, they have this little button on them that looks like a gamepad controller, like an old Atari one. You push that and it disables your Windows buttons while you're in game, so you don't have to accidentally worry about, oh my gosh, I'm about to get the greatest baller multi-shot, and then all of a sudden, game bar. No! Yeah, that's how you should see my streams. It's legitimately, that's how I scream.
We always just
so hopefully
the
that
Windows keycaps off, threw them in the trash. Trying to kill Ragnaros, you know? Can't deal with that. But nowadays, yeah, like you said, DJ, a lot of keyboards have like a disable the Windows button function.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when I'm gaming, I hit that button and it disables anything that's going to take me out of the game, and then I could just pop it off if I need to get back to Windows or something. But try that, Dustin. Let us know if that works. That might be helpful. Captain, coming back to you over on the purple side, says, you guys are building my next PC with the Leon Lee Dynamic Evo XL with a 4090 and a Ryzen 7 9800 X3D. Currently, so I'm hoping that gets rid of my negative pressure issue for life. I'm going to be honest, bruh. That's baller.
Yeah, we appreciate you going with us. That is a very high-end build. We're excited to do that. So, yeah, that Leon Lee Dynamic Evo XL, we'll definitely have that set up in a positive pressure way. We do that for pretty much every machine we have, unless the case just prohibits us somehow, but that's a pretty rare thing. Yeah, that's a solid case. And you're going to have good filtration on every intake on that as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's got the magnetics on it.
Yeah, it's very similar to what DJ has. It's just a slightly different tweak on the XL, but yeah.
Yep. little bit bigger. So Fruit Mustache says, mine's always accidentally hitting the Xbox home button on the controller. Pulls up the game art. Yes. Speaking of things we're pulling up, let's pull up what we're going to be putting in there. That's what Zach is holding, and it's going to be our sound card. It's an independent standard sound card. It is a Sound Blaster Audigy FX 5.1. Now, Zach, when installing this, where do you know how to install it so it doesn't negatively affect the placement of the graphics card?
So when installing any extra slots, you want to always just revert back to your biggest one, which will always be your graphics card. A lot of motherboards kind of have a gap in between their first PCI slot and the next one's down. But this 4060 Ti that we have is a dual slot card, so I just left 2 open. I always like having my audio cards on the very bottom slot, because most of them you are plugging in the HD audio cable to it. And then if you have like a Wi-Fi card or headphone jack card, you can plug that into the one up above that if there's room in between.
A big thing I want to point out too that Zach mentioned is the HD audio cable. So that's this white cable coming from in here. This is white because it's coming from this case. So there's a slot on the motherboard we usually plug those into right down there, but most sound cards have a port for it, and we plug it into the sound card. That way if you plug your headset or mic into your audio port on your case, it's going to use the sound card as well.
There we go. So Captain mentioned Akita hair catcher. I'm hoping that's what I went with for that case. Yes, you did. And yeah, my Leon Lee still doesn't have to be cleaned. And I have 2 Great Danes. One is 200 pounds. The other is 160 pounds. And I don't even let them into the basement where the studio is, and I have hair down here. I don't even know how it got here.
I even got hair up there.
I mean, it didn't fall off my head. I know it's not mine. Let's go with that. That's hilarious. What's up, Sasoj? Over on the kick side. Welcome in. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, now what we pulled out of the box is what's going to be fun to play with, and this is our power supply. So what we've got here is a Game Diaz Helios P2 1000 watt 80 plus gold. It is a specific type of power supply, and it is one of 3 types. Paul?
It is a fully modular. So you can see there's no cables soldered into this. We've got our ports right here, and then our cables come in this bag. So this is a modular power supply. It's all we prefer to build with these. It makes our life easy as builders and makes the system look cleaner. And then you'll get the extra cables in the accessories bag in case you ever upgrade down the road and you need an extra SATA or power cable or something like that.
Yeah. These are fun because all the cables are together. They're all conjoined, I guess you could say. Yeah. Now, can you use other adapters or pieces from other power supplies to plug in if you're replacing your power supply?
You cannot use other modular cables from other power supplies. You want to be very careful on that. You could end up frying your whole power supply. We've done it before. Also, if you're buying a sleeved cable kit for your system, you want to make sure when you buy the kit it's compatible with your model of power supply, because there is a difference.
Luckily on our website, if you choose to go with the Cable Mod sleeve kit, that gives you it just looks cool. That's like I have one and it's awesome. But the builder, our webpage won't let you buy a processor, a power supply unit that doesn't meet the needs or the standards of those cable sleeves. So you always know what's going to match up. Crash Burrito, what's going on? Says the panel he put on the case, what was the silver BOC on it?
Oh, that is our hard drive. So that's our Seagate 4 terabyte hard disk drive. Let's see how it's mounted to that door right there.
Yep.
Pretty convenient.
Now you can fit multiples on there.
Yeah, it looks like we can fit 3 on there. The holes are also drilled out so that you can put 2.5-inch drives on there as well.
Oh, sick. This is nice. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking for
Crash
a second
Burrito's like,
one,
it's
but
boxed. That
found one,
BOC. So. I get that. Crash Burrito, I'm going to be honest, that makes much more sense that way. As for that storage, the second storage is a 4 terabyte Seagate Barracuda HDD. Now that differs from solid states how?
It's a single 8.
It's a single 8.
Yeah, I just checked.
6.
Another 4 of the box.
Yeah. For the core check. Sorry, DJ.
Paul.
What's up?
Oh yeah, I was just so a Barracuda HDD compared to a solid state like an M.2. What is the big difference between the two of them? And what is a hybrid drive?
So the big difference is that this Seagate Barracuda drive is a hard disk drive. So there are spinning platters, physical moving parts inside of there. So this is a significantly slower drive than using a solid state. Now that being said, this customer is using this as a secondary storage. So it's a great cheap way to get a lot of storage to put your game library on. We definitely recommend going with a M.2 or some sort of SSD for your operating system.
We have as big as 16 terabytes because I just built one and put it in it. Well, like built it on our website.
16 terabyte M.2?
NVMe, no wait, hard drive.
Hard disk drive.
Okay, got it.
I think
okay,
our biggest
geez.
NVMe is 8.
Yeah. Crash mentions, that's why I was wondering, they put an M.2 on the motherboard and that one as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the M.2
So, like, I have
installed, and then, yep, the secondary drive.
So I have 2 M.2s in my system. I have a 1 terabyte for my operating system, and that is all that's on it. That plus any
Windows
audio
updates.
software. And then, I hate that word. And then the 4 terabyte M.2 is where all the games are installed. The reason is because if I end up with a situation where I have to reinstall my operating system, I can reinstall it without having to worry about the corrupting all of my games, because all I have to do is redirect Steam and everything else to look at. So like, oh yeah, the gaming software is also on the operating system drive, but all the games are just saved on the 4 terabyte drive.
Do it,
How does that
Burrito.
work, by the way?
Do it, Burrito. Populate all 5 of those bays.
You want to use all 5 M.2 slots? Good God.
Hey, Burrito.
Oh,
get
Black Friday
get
sales.
800. Get an 800 series motherboard, and then you'll have 7.
I gotta get an SD card this Black Friday. I needed one last
Black
Friday.
Black Friday sales are amazing.
I don't know.
I got this
like a terabyte or more.
last year. I think this is a Gen. I'm getting so old. I actually need to. Oh no, it's Gen 4. So I've got 2 different 1 terabyte Gen 4 M.2s. Because I figured my Seagate was going to die, and I just didn't. It's hardcore. I think I got these for like $40 each.
Oh, there you go.
And on sale. Yeah. Oh, and I got one of these for one of the Samsung T7. It's also a terabyte, but it is USB 3.2, and this is what I use for my software transfer, my audio transfers between my PC and my DJ gear.
No way.
Caution.
Oh, dude.
Now, caution, electrostatic sensitivity. It's by PNY. It is going to be a 4060 Ti. Paul, that sounds fast. What does it do? How's this cool?
So this is the PNY 4060 Ti. It's a 16 gig version. Pretty small card, which we like. This is very light. We won't need an anti-sag bracket and a single 8-pin power connector. So double fan model. It's got 1 HDMI and 3 display ports coming out.
Oh my gosh, Crash, that's insanity. Crash got the MSI Meg X870E Godlike, and it's got an AM5 AMD X670E motherboard, which has 6 gigabytes per second transfer speed, and it's an extended ATX motherboard.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Those godlikes are huge. They're like full squares.
Total of 7 M.2s? God. How many does my expansion card take? I think it takes
2.
4?
It depends. There's a few different versions. So yeah, between 2 and 4 probably.
I think it was 4. But yeah, man, you beat me on slots.
That's the big one.
There we go. Oh yeah. And yes, they are gigantic dogs. They're just big goofballs. That's what they do. Now, as we're watching this, you can see Zach is using those Velcro ties as well as zip ties. So from an organizational standpoint, how does this work? What's the best way to for somebody who's building their own PC to manage their cables?
Yes. So ideally, like what we are using here, we have a modular power supply that lets us have just the cables that are needed and no extra cables, which is a very nice thing. Keeps everything very low key on how much is actually going into the machine. And then just like earlier with like doing the fans in the cases, just, keeping them tied up and in easy access to get to.
And again, reading those instructions is important. And I say this only because I know half of you have already heard this story before. But when I built my very first gaming/streaming PC, I had to uninstall and reinstall the motherboard like 6 times because I didn't understand. Oh, there's case cables that need to be plugged in here. I just was mounting everything down and thought, how's it going to get power? And then I realized there's cables all over the place underneath. So, cable management is good, but it's also difficult. You're eagerly waiting on your order. We're eagerly waiting on you to get your order, bud. Yeah. Yeah, I still giggle about that expansion card. Now, when it comes to graphics cards, obviously we've got this PNY. Now, this looks like a 2-fan, is it?
Yes, this is a dual fan, 2-fan model.
And how heavy does that feel in your hand?
It's pretty light, yeah. We won't need an anti-sag bracket or anything like that.
Nice. Now, for those people who might not know what an anti-sag bracket is, what are they and what's the usage situation when you would need one?
So an anti-sag bracket, what that does is cards get larger, they start to extend way out, and they're pretty heavy as well. They can start to sag in your system over time. The system will start to, or the video card will start to droop down. So an anti-sag bracket is just another support for this side of the video card. That way we don't damage the card or the motherboard. Now, most cases, newer cases now are coming with a built-in one, like the NV5 has. So pretty easy to use those. You just want to make sure you're getting one that mounts to the frame of your chassis.
Nice. Captain brings up a question. Says, do you guys know of any negative effects of using the Leon Lee V2 Strimmer GPU motherboard cables? I've heard nightmare stories about them frying or melting 4090s.
Do not put them on white and put them above 70% brightness without having adequate ventilation inside of the machine. That is a warning directly from when you open the package. That is all the bad I know about.
Yeah, other than that, we've used them a few times here, and they look really cool.
Yep.
They're basically like extensions, though, right? They plug. I don't think they go directly into the power, but tie into the cables. So you'll have a little bit of extra cable to manage on those, but they do look pretty sweet.
Nice. And we're down to the final stages of getting everything on. That door obviously goes on. And there are options. You can do multiple hard drives on that door, and it will all fit. But this is also kind of you can see the joy of why these, 2/3 or 3/4 cases are the way they are, because there's a space back there to actually make it worth putting them that way. And now you just pop it up, and then we're gonna get lemon squeezy. Wait until he's done, and then we're gonna take a little journey. No white lighting and 70% max brightness. Yes, got it. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Because you gotta consider, if you've got the LEDs running on and they're running RGBs, that's only a piece of it. But if you've got them hardcore on and they're max bright, first of all, don't look at your computer because you're gonna blind yourself. Second of all, you know that's gonna cause some heat.
It's the scene from Terminator when she's standing on the fence and blows up and yeah, that's what happens when you have those at above at 100%. You wear your sunglasses at night.
Do you remember Pulp Fiction?
Oh, yeah.
It's that moment when he opens up the briefcase. It's like that. Only less gold.
What's in the briefcase? What do you guys think?
What's in the box? Oh my gosh, I haven't seen 7 in a long time.
It's because TV's not around anymore.
Now, push our
I didn't know how the movie was on TV. It was such a heavily edited movie to be on TV.
What?
7.
7? Yeah, you should see the actual, just the unedited version.
Yeah, the real movie is a film.
It's like the 7 Deadly
Listen,
Sins one, right?
you-
Yeah, okay.
With
Or
Joaquin
Deliverance.
Phoenix and Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah. Deliverance is also equally as terrifying. So is the movie Showgirls. So let's talk about, we got 2 fans on this, and we're going to plug that in. What are some great... Now, we got the thing, don't we? Do we? No. Yes, we do. We've got the button. Now, there has been some advancements coming up on some boards that make it a little bit different. But why do we love the button? I'm going to let you take this, Zach.
Because it makes it super easy to make sure to remove your graphics card. We know that it's fully locked in because that nice little click there tells me that it is locked in. Where did I put the screws? And then once we have it clipped in place, then we just want to do our I/O screws and anti-sag bracket if needed. We do not on this guy. This is a cool case that comes with an anti-sag bracket, so not needed.
Nice. We get that all in there.
So this is the exact
comes the big
opposite.
blow.
Like how I said I built this earlier. I built a black NV5 with a white radiator and black fans. So it's like deja vu. We took the red pill and the blue pill today.
Ooh, we're getting spicy.
I know.
Damn. Okay. And we're getting the rest of this up in here. Now, when you're connecting, because I know there's some things to consider. When you're connecting your graphics card, whether it is a 4060 Ti or a 4090, what are the things that you really want to focus on to make sure that you've got it in the right position and you don't end up causing more problems?
Well, the first thing, when you're sliding into the PCIe slot, you want to make sure you get that click on the slot itself so that you know it's locked in place, and then you can put in your mounting screws. And then after that, you'll plug in your power cables, and you just want to make sure you got those facing the right way. They're kind of dummy proof, so you can't force them in if you got them upside down, which is nice.
Yes, Captain. Every O11, every Lindley case comes with its own anti-sag bracket. They inside the little box, they come with them.
That is awesome. So speaking of things that are coming in boxes, we're going to talk about where you can get a box of your own that contains an amazing gaming PC. Let's jump over to our website. It's clxgaming.com. At clxgaming.com, we try to make it as easy as possible for you to get the PC of your dreams. It's not only going to meet your needs, but exceed your expectations. We've got everything. You want a small one, you want a medium-sized one, you want a big one. We've got sizes of cases that are all over the place. Plus, we carry all the brands. We've got Intel, we've got AMD, we've got Radeon, we've got NVIDIA, and you can choose it all here. You want more RAM? We got you. You want more hard drives? We got you. And it's all right on our webpage. Now, don't worry. In the event that you choose something that's not necessarily compatible, like, for example, if you were to choose a 4090 and a low end and a low wattage power supply, the system's going to turn that little green button to a yellow button. And then it's going to say, all right, if you want this power supply, you're going to have to choose one of these, lower graphics cards. But if you want this graphics card, this is a list of power supplies that it'll work with. Once you get that cleared, it turns back to green and you're good to go. Now, this is not the end of what we can do. We can upgrade your thermal paste. We can overclock your GPU, your CPU, or both. If you're a streamer or content creator, great. We've got Beacon mix creates, Beacon mics. We carry Elgato capture cards, and it's amazing. The best part, though, is the accessories. So if you take a look, the first tab of the accessories allows you to get one of the things that Zach and I are wearing. Is a CLX branded purple hoodie. Because of my green screen, my purple's not super great. His purple's great. But that being said, we've got everything you could possibly need to make a gaming room. You want keyboards, mice, controllers, we got them. Headsets, actual gaming mics, we got them. Speakers, monitors, LCD control screens. We've even got routers and chairs. I don't know if for anybody who's from the Northwest and knows it, what I mean by that, we're a one-stop shopping center, kind of like Fred Meyer. But,
TikTok has a puzzle.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I knew you were doing that.
I heard TikTok has a puzzle. So check it out. Now, some of you, I'm going to be honest, it might just be a little bit overwhelming. And that's okay. You know why? Because we have our ready to ship section. That's what we call our RTS builds. Now, our RTS builds come in many different forms. We've got them everywhere from entry level all the way up to ultra high performance. So if you're wanting to get an idea of, all right, this is what this can do, and this is what it might cost around there, and then you can adjust and build as you want. The best part about it is this is all assembled in-house right here in the studio in Kansas, and they've all been tested and burned in. It's grand. So you can check that out right there. It's all over at clxgaming.com. So all your future computer needs, head on over to clxgaming.com and see what we can do for you. Now, right now, we're going to see what we can do for this Sakura
Cherry Blossom
build. All right, let's see what we're doing. This, of course, is for Brianna in Vermont. Powered up.
We will give it a
I love that.
The Corsairs, there we go.
Good God, those are bright. My Lord. That's fantastic.
You know, we will give it a
You don't even have to light your
come
studio.
on, but it's already bright. On some of these, we will have to install the software to get everything customized. So
all good. All good. Let's once again go over what we've got in this incredible build for our friend Brianna in Vermont. This, of course, is a CLX Horus NV5 White Sakura Edition. It has an AMD Ryzen 9 7950X that's being cooled by a Corsair H150i Elite LCD XT360 AIO. Those are mounted on an Asus Strix B650E motherboard, and we've got 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 by our friends over at G-Skill. The graphics card is an NVIDIA RTX 4060 Ti, and of course, our operating system is going to be on a 2 terabyte A-Data Gold NVMe M.2, and we've got a secondary drive of 4 terabytes by Seagate. It's their Barracuda hard drive. This is all going to be cooled by the 8 different Corsair 120mm QX series RGB white fans. We've also got that added sound card that is an Sound Blaster Audigy FX 5.1 Plus. It's all being powered by an AMD Helios P2 1000 watt 80 plus gold. Nice. What do you guys think about the FSP T-Wing case for dual PC setup?
Sounds like a Star Trek.
sounds cool. I'm not familiar with that.
Ship.
Like, he said T-Wing, and I'm like, ooh, is there a new Star Wars game thing coming out? I'm like, no, wait, hold on.
Captain
I'll look that
with fans like Corsair, Lin-Li, and Thermaltake. When we get into testing, we load the software, and that will light up the other fans that aren't glowing right now. It just has to have the software loaded to recognize everything.
Oh my gods.
DJ, what's the point of a sound card?
The point of a sound card is, well, I mean, honestly, the edges are pointy, and that can be sharp. Oh, you mean the point of having one? Got it. So in the event that you're not wanting to pop all of your audio through your HDMI, also, if you are doing any type of audio engineering, you want to have raw source output, not have it filtered through your capture card, or your graphics card. So if you want to do that, it provides separate processing and a separate capability for you to actually have sound output if you're going to a mixer, if you're going to a different recording device. So there are all sorts of options. All sorts of options. Who knows what that might take? So with that being said, by the way, that T-Wing, you guys need to look that up because that is gorgeous. Absolutely incredible. I'm jazzed.
Cool.
That is
What?
that is an incredible case.
Looks like a fancy toaster.
Incredible case.
No, man, that looks like what's his face's face. That looks like Optimus Prime's head.
Ooh.
If Optimus Prime got turned into a PC, there you go, right? Autobots, log in.
Hey,
No, just
whoa.
kidding. Now, today we've got a great show because this show is back to its normal procedure. We've got 2 different sections of the show. In just a few, we're going to take a break, and you're going to spend the rest of the afternoon when we come back with Zach. Zach's got some really cool builds, and he's going to continue to be able to answer your questions and more. He's also going to entertain you by braiding his own hair. So, with that being said, you can... this show happens every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern across all of our platforms. You can watch this show live on TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, and YouTube's. You can also check out all the things that go on our social media by keeping track of us, and that's on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at CLS Gaming. If you'd like to join a wonderful community of like-minded PC enthusiasts, head on over to discord.gg/CLX Gaming. And there we go. In the meantime, I'm going to say thank you so much to Kyle and Jason in production. And on behalf of Paul and Zach, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
Hi.